In today's report on the San Francisco 49ers, we bring updates regarding the situation of the quarterback's contract renewal. We will talk more about this shortly, but first, I want to share a new draft simulation. If we receive a significant number of positive reactions, we may release another simulation related to the team. Now, let's dive into our discussion, where we will analyze everything happening around the quarterback, including the latest news about his contract, which has been revealed by sources close to the league and the franchise. The team's owner made significant comments about the player's future with the organization. A former quarterback expressed his desire for another team to attempt a trade, recognizing the potential the player could bring. Additionally, we have the assessment of a former offensive lineman who provides a realistic analysis of the team's offseason plan, what has been done so far, and of course, the focus on the quarterback, which is the central point of our discussion on the contract extension and expert comments. An insider mentioned that the team likely wants to keep the contract value between $50 and $55 million per year. On the other hand, another source indicated that the franchise expects the contract to be in the $40 million range, while the player's representative is seeking something above $50 million in average annual value. Thus, while the team seems willing to offer an amount close to $45 million, the player's side aims for a contract that exceeds $50 million. An additional piece of information that has surfaced indicates that when analyzing what this renewal could represent, the name of a quarterback from another team is frequently mentioned, which is considered an intriguing comparison. Reports suggest that when trying to understand how this renewal could unfold, the name of a quarterback from another organization is often cited. This comparison is interesting for several reasons. Let's start with the contract of the player in question, which is 5 years long, with a substantial annual value and a considerable total guaranteed amount, a significant sum when it comes to guaranteed money. Moreover, considering his college performance, physical traits, and skills, he was considered an exceptional prospect. That is why he was selected as the first pick by a team in a specific year, 1 year before the quarterback we are discussing, who was the last pick of a subsequent draft. However, so far, this player's performance has been somewhat frustrating, with rather inconsistent results. He has only won one playoff game and has not had much individual success, just like the team, which also has not stood out. Part of this situation is due to the player's performance, but it is also a result of the team's condition, which has not been ideal. The lack of stability in the coaching position throughout the player's career is a relevant factor. He started with an unsuccessful coach, and the team stood out for a long period as one of the least effective in the league. When comparing what this player has achieved so far with the performance of the quarterback we are discussing, it is clear that the latter has performed better. Focusing on the guaranteed value, the situation becomes intricate as it involves a high amount. The previous player's guaranteed values are lower than those of quarterbacks who clearly perform better than the quarterback in question. However, if information about this player's contract is circulating, it could open the door for the quarterback's representative to approach the team and argue that he's had more success, posted better numbers, and is a superior quarterback. If that was the contract the other player secured, that's the type of deal they also want to pursue. Naturally, the team might contest this, but the fact that the other organization made this payment decision, even without exceptional performance so far, could make negotiations even more challenging. He has shown superior performance, posting higher statistics, and proving to be a more effective quarterback than the one mentioned. If this is the type of contract he received, that's what we aspire to. Certainly, the team can argue in favor of this statement. However, the fact that another team opted to pay a quarterback, even though he hasn't done enough to deserve it, or that another team made mistakes in compensation, doesn't mean we should follow that same path. Here is our proposal, which can either be accepted or rejected. This is the nature of contract negotiations. The exchange of ideas between two analysts on a podcast was quite engaging. One of them asked, "If I ask for your opinion now, without considering the specific coach, you're just the coach of a team, and you need a quarterback. One player is available, the other is too. Which one would you choose?" The analyst, known for his analysis, replied, "It depends on my system. I look for a winner, a player who knows how to execute the plan. I would probably choose the first one, although the other, indeed, has more talent." The other analyst then responded, Should the first one be paid more than the second? The analyst said, yes, I believe a similar value, between 50 and 55 million, would be fair. And I think that in 2 years, the team will reflect. This was a contract that considered the increase in the salary cap. This has been my view for some time. If the team can secure this quarterback for 50 to 55 million, it will be a victory for both the team and the player from the franchise's perspective. It is not about another athlete's contract, which is 60 million a year, and of course, the guaranteed value will also be a factor to consider. However, a team has become overly dependent on its quarterback, who needs other pieces around him to succeed. This is not a criticism, but rather a reality, and many quarterbacks who are among the top 10 to 15 in the league face a similar situation. So, if the team can secure this player at that value, there will still be room to strengthen the rest of the roster. And for him, who hasn't even reached $1 million in one season, 50 to 55 million would place him among the top 10 highest-paid quarterbacks. For many of the other quarterbacks in the top 10 to 15 in the league, if the team can secure a contract at that level, it will still have the opportunity to bolster the rest of the team. This player hasn't earned $1 million in a season yet, so a contract between 50 and 55 million would place him among the top 10 highest-paid quarterbacks, a recognition he truly deserves, given his performance since becoming the starting quarterback in 2022. With the league salary cap constantly growing, a value between 50 and 55 million for him, if he maintains his performance over the course of the contract, as he did in 2023, where he had one of the most efficient quarterback seasons in recent memory, could turn out to be a great deal for the team. As the salary cap increases, quarterbacks' contracts will continue to rise. What the management commented about him caught my attention, as it is they who approve the payments. In addition to considering Brock Purdy's comments about the timeline for finalizing a contract, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's opinions also cannot be overlooked. Purdy expressed his wish to get it done quickly so we can get back to training with our receivers and our team. I'm not the type who likes any drama in this process. The mention of the word drama deserves a deeper analysis. Last offseason, we witnessed a lengthy negotiation episode involving an athlete, which caused quite a stir around the club. With key players absent for a significant time during training and the preseason, the team sought to start strong after a painful Super Bowl loss. But things didn't unfold as expected. They struggled to find their rhythm, with a lack of continuity that left the offense disjointed. It is crucial for the team to avoid repeating this mistake during this period, especially a quarterback. When it comes to the offense in the league, timing, synchronization, and continuity are key, and this requires considerable time to develop that connection. Therefore, it is essential that the team finalize Brock Purdy's contract extension as soon as possible, ensuring his presence during the offseason activities and eliminating any possibility of drama during training and preseason related to contract negotiations. This will ideally allow for a more cohesive offense, helping the team overcome their challenging season and return to a high level of football as they seek a playoff spot next season. So, looking ahead, when do you think the team will finalize an agreement with Purdy? Feel free to share your thoughts on a specific date, month, or time frame, and express if you believe an agreement cannot be reached. At this point, there is an opportunity to win $50 by betting $5, and you don't even need to win to get that bonus. The process is pretty simple. Go to price.com, create an account, download the app, and insert the link, and you're ready to start. This is daily fantasy sports simplified, where you pick 2 or more players, choose more or less based on projected stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times what you invested. It makes the game-watching experience much more exciting. With Baseball League on the rise and basketball playoffs approaching quickly, let's take a look at the situation. The team fired its coach, but still has a standout player. Let's bet that this athlete will score more than 30.5 points against the opposing team. For those in the Bay Area, you might root for the opponent, and if so, I'm sorry, especially if you bet on the local team against their rivals. But yes, let's bet he scores over 30.5 points. Upon his return, an athlete who was ejected in a previous game due to an unfortunate incident, let's bet he gets more than 48.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I hope he finds redemption for his team. And then, A baseball player. Let's bet he'll get more than 1.5 total bases. This is how it works, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, win $50 by betting 5, go more or less, and play your way with the available options. Now, there's still a lot more to discuss. A former quarterback commented that a team should consider negotiating for a quarterback who still doesn't have an extension contract, so this team should speak up and ask, what's the cost? What was mentioned is this. If you are a team that has already tried to sign a key player, you need someone who can make passes. If you find yourself in this situation, why not consider reaching out and saying, I don't know your current situation, but give us a chance with this quarterback. Let him distribute the ball to all the options we have here. Some relevant considerations about what was discussed. Why not think about establishing a dialogue with the Niners and John Lynch to ask, I'm not exactly sure where you stand right now, but how about giving us a chance with Brock Purdy? He would have the opportunity to throw to all the talented players we have in Pittsburgh. There are valid arguments in what was said. The Steelers undoubtedly need a quarterback, and I believe Aaron Rodgers will eventually join Pittsburgh, making them one of the most intriguing teams in the NFL. Recently, they secured DK Metcalf. They have George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth, plus a solid running game and one of the best defenses in the league. It would be foolish for Pittsburgh to choose Mason Rudolph as their starting quarterback. However, I have some reservations, and I don't believe the Niners will trade Purdy. If he were to play in Pittsburgh, it's essential to consider that the city is known for its cold weather. The AFC North is famous for its adverse weather conditions, with outdoor games against Cleveland, Cincinnati, and the Baltimore Ravens. In Pittsburgh, snow and rain are common, and Purdy has already struggled to throw in adverse conditions. For Pittsburgh, he doesn't seem like the ideal type of quarterback. This is what led the team to choose Big Ben, a robust quarterback with a strong arm and excellent durability. He could escape defenders in the pocket and extend plays in a way that, in my view, was often underestimated, using his legs to make deep passes. While Purdy has the ability to improvise, he struggles to hold the ball in wet conditions, so I don't see him as a suitable alternative for the Steelers. By the way, you can find me on social media, where I talk about the Niners daily. I'm close to reaching some milestones, with 16,000 followers on social media and 37,000 on another platform. A former NFL offensive lineman, who had an impressive performance with the Denver team, made some intriguing observations about Brock Purdy and also commented on what a manager said about the Niners' actions this season. He mentioned that the statements were unfounded and that it's not a player's job to manage the team's salary cap. I'm a big fan of Brock Purdy, but this is the proposal. Talking about all these players and the exits and what happened, they faced many injuries last year, had players step in to replace those injured, and realized that these substitutes were young, affordable, and, worth noting, quite competent. While he has a point, I also believe the manager has his justifications, and I don't disagree with many of the choices the Niners made in letting older, injury-prone players go, especially considering the high contracts that would not have been offered. The only player they really wanted to keep, based on the statements and actions, is a specific linebacker. The management reached out to him to convince him to re-sign, even when he already had a commitment with another team. I wouldn't pay $19 million per year for a particular player, so I understand their decision to let those players go and save for the future. On the other hand, the observation raised leads me to a counterpoint. Some of the new players stood out, others did not, and there are still many gaps in the team. I agree that emotional and complicated decisions need to be made, but the Niners have trimmed their roster to the point where they now need to do exceptionally well in the draft, as they have many gaps to fill. It wasn't necessary to let go of a specific player who participated and started every game last season. Therefore, I understand their reasoning. At this moment, there is an urgent need to stand out in the NFL draft, given the number of gaps in the roster. It wasn't necessary to get rid of essential players who played in every game and were starters last season. There's some understanding of the logic behind this strategy, although it might not be completely accepted. A staunch defender of a specific quarterback, who previously refuted the idea that he is just a game manager, believes that he offers much more than that. His ability to throw the ball long distances is an aspect of his talent that often goes unnoticed, and his ability to extend plays with his agility is also underrated. He is a truly remarkable athlete. This supporter expressed the belief that this quarterback is among the top in the league, and during an intense discussion, he expressed the belief that the team will be fine, thus supporting the perspectives for the next season. The team has one of the most accessible schedules in the league, and if they can keep the roster healthy, improvements in the coaching staff could lead them to a playoff contender status. However, this depends on making the right choices in the upcoming draft and the new players stepping up as key contributors. With this in mind, I leave the following question. Will the team manage to finish with a positive win-loss record and have a successful season in 2025? Why yes or why not? But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a stunning twist that's shaking up the NFL offseason, league insiders report that the San Francisco 49ers are mounting an aggressive push to land none other than Travis KELCE, the legendary Kansas City Chiefs tight end. With KELCE announcing that 2025 will be his final season under contract, speculation is growing that the 49ers are attempting to capitalize on a narrow window to bring one of the greatest tight ends in football history to the Bay Area. The idea of pairing KELCE with Kyle Shanahan's offense, and possibly George Kittle, has fans and analysts buzzing with possibilities. KELCE, a 3-time Super Bowl champion and 10-time Pro Bowler, has defined dominance at his position. From his record-setting 1,416-yard season in 2020 to eclipsing Jerry Rice's postseason reception record in 2025, KELCE's resume speaks for itself. Yet after a year that saw the Chiefs fall short of a three-peat and KELCE hint at retirement, the 49ers may be betting that a fresh environment and one more title run could entice him to make a bold career finale. Sources close to the 49ers front office suggest that internal discussions have intensified in recent weeks, especially after KELCE reaffirmed his commitment to play in 2025. While the Chiefs recently inked him to a 2-year extension, San Francisco reportedly believes that a blockbuster offer, potentially including high draft capital and a veteran player, could test Kansas City's willingness to hold on to their aging superstar. "We're not done building," one 49ers executive was quoted saying, "and if there's a shot at greatness, we take it." Adding KELCE to an already stacked roster that includes Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle will be an unprecedented move, possibly redefining what a modern NFL offense looks like. The team's deep playoff runs in recent years have only intensified their urgency to capture another Lombardi trophy, and KELCE's veteran presence, route-running brilliance, and locker room gravitas could be the missing link. Whether this move materializes or fizzles out, one thing is clear. The 49ers are all in on the idea of finishing what they started. And for KELCE, a player who has conquered nearly every milestone in his storied career, the allure of ending it all in San Francisco, hoisting one more trophy in a different shade of red, might just be the poetic final act fans never saw coming. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.